My God, I finally found it!
Conan the Destroyer is the sequel to Conan the Barbarian. No, I don't mean the 2011 reboot, I mean the actual sequel. Directed by Richard Fleischer, the film was released in 1984 to fairly negative reception. So, what's this movie about? Well, to find out, let's get right into it. Conan the Destroyer starts off with a reprisal of the first film's opening, with the wizard talking and the theme music, which I personally think is the best part of this entire film. Some fellas are riding across the desert and they soon encounter Conan, who is praying at an altar. And this is the point in the movie where we meet what I believe was the worst decision in the filmmaking process. Remember Subutai, the cool thief guy from the first movie? Yeah, he's gone now, and he's been replaced by this incredibly annoying thief character with an irritating voice and some of the worst lines I have ever heard.
This is what the world has come to. You try to help somebody, and what do you get instead of thanks?
Conan has a brawl with the horsemen, and he actually punches out one of the horses. However, he soon meets the queen of the horsemen, who promises she'll bring Conan's dead girlfriend back to life if he helps her. Conan and the thief guy follow her back to the city, where we get a bizarre reference to the camels scene from the first movie. They enter the queen's castle, where there are peacocks on the stairs for some reason. The queen tells Conan about a really complicated quest she wants him to go on, where he must bring the queen's daughter to a key that only she can use, then use the key to acquire a jeweled horn, which will then be used to awaken an ancient god. Conan accepts this for some reason, and he sets off with the thief, the princess, Jenna, and the queen's captain of the guard, Bombata. Almost immediately, they encounter the wizard from the first movie, as they save him from some cannibals, and we get some more excellent dialogue from the thief.
Those savages should thank me, sparing them a terrible stomachache.
Later, the group meets Grace Jones, who makes some weird noises and hits people with a stick. She joins the group soon after, completing their adventuring party. The group arrives at the castle of the wizard, Thothamon, who guards the key. While they're sleeping, the wizard turns into a spirit bird thing and steals Jenna to bring her back to his castle. Upon discovering this, the rest of the gang travels to the castle to kill the wizard and take her back. However, Conan gets trapped in a freaky mirror room where he has to fight the wizard alone. The wizard has transformed from an old man into a guy wearing a rubber mask, and he kicks the crap out of Conan before Conan discovers his weakness and kills him. It is here that we discover that they only recorded one sound effect for the wizard. After Conan kills Thothamon by throwing his sword at a mirror, they rescue Jenna, grab the key, and escape in a green screen boat as the island collapses. Before going to get the horn, they set up camp in the middle of the forest, where Conan gets drunk and goes mental.
I'll help you. Swing over your head.
Ow!
After going to an ancient temple and grabbing the horn, which actually doesn't really look that impressive, the wizard discovers that the true reason for their quest was to sacrifice Jenna, which would awaken the god and destroy the world. Soon after, the group is confronted by a roving band of bad guys led by a wizard who wants the horn back. Conan and Bombata beat up the guys for a while before escaping through a heavy door. When the evil wizard tries to open the door, the other wizard, whose name is Akiro, I feel like I should mention that at this point, has an idea to stop him. The two wizards engage in a wizard fight, making weird noises and hand gestures. Eventually, Akiro defeats the evil wizard, at which point the group starts booking it out of the temple through a secret tunnel. However, Bombata, who has actually been a double agent for the queen this whole time, knocks down a bunch of styrofoam rocks from the ceiling, which Conan must climb over. Bombata takes Jenna all the way back to the castle, where a ceremony is being performed before they sacrifice her, and where they use the same music from the orgy in the first film. Conan and the gang hurry back to the castle to stop this from happening, and the thief finally does something useful as he tells Conan the location of a secret entrance into the building. Once inside, they slip past the guards in the most subtle and inconspicuous way possible. Conan kills Bambata and the group enters the sacrifice chamber. However, by this point, the god, whose name is Dagoth, has been awakened and Jenna is about to be sacrificed. She is saved by Grace Jones, who kills the evil wizard with the most impressive spear throw that I have ever seen. Dagoth is now fully active, and he kills the queen before attempting to kill everyone else. Conan brawls with Dagoth for a while before some lightning is summoned. However, I'm not sure if it was actually Dagoth who summoned it, because he seems just as surprised by it as everyone else. Conan is informed that the way to kill Dagoth is by ripping off his horn, which he does in an impressively brutal fashion. The day is saved, and Jenna becomes the queen. After nominating pretty much everybody in the Conan adventuring party to work with her, she offers Conan an opportunity to marry her, but he declines because he is a solitary man. The end. Now, keep in mind, this is just my opinion. The first thing to say about Conan the Destroyer is that, tonally, it is a completely different film when compared to Conan the Barbarian. While both share cheesy dialogue and gratuitous action, Conan the Destroyer is much lighter and more humorous. Nobody from the main cast dies except for the villains, and with the exception of the fight at the end, there is a notable lack of the dark themes prevalent in the first movie. The film tries to recapture the camaraderie between the main cast, but because the dialogue manages to be even more ridiculous than in the first film, the character interactions just come off as goofy and over the top. While the idea of being action-centered is par for the course with any Conan movie, the non-action scenes in the film seem mostly like filler until the action can take place. The fight scenes are well made, but because of a decision made by Dino De Laurentiis, the action in the film was actually toned down from its original state, weakening the effectiveness of the action-centric formula. Some other strange decisions were made with the budget. Conan the Destroyer had a comparable budget to Conan the Barbarian, but while Barbarian spread it out throughout the film, Destroyer seems to have a few high-intensity, high-budget scenes interspersed throughout a low-budget film. I believe a good portion of the reason this film didn't do as well as it could have is because of its desire to emulate Conan the Barbarian, but its inability to properly do so. Conan the Destroyer repeatedly references the first film, but the references ultimately have no meaning. While most of the original cast made an appearance, some roles, like that of Subutai, are altered. Instead of simply creating an entirely new character, the movie chooses instead to create a pale facsimile of another character. This failed attempt to recreate the feeling of the first film is most noticeable in the overall tone and feel of the movie. As previously mentioned, Conan the Destroyer is a much lighter and more humorous chapter of the Conan story. However, the film still tries to deliver the same emotional impact as its predecessor. If, during the filmmaking process, the choice had been made to either take the film down the same route as the original Conan, or to wholly embrace the lighthearted theme, I believe the result would have been a smoother and more cohesive film. Ultimately, Conan the Destroyer is a film that suffers from its own attachment to its past success. So, to summarize, some positives of the film are: the soundtrack is incredible, the action scenes are pretty well made, and some of the dialogue is so bad that it's good. However, some negatives are: the movie can't decide what it wants to be, the story is convoluted, and some other parts of the dialogue are so bad that they become good and then go straight back to bad again. Overall, I give Conan the Destroyer a 5.5 out of 10. Now, note that this does not mean you can't enjoy the film. In fact, this is one of the most entertaining movies I've seen in a good while. It's definitely entertaining, it's just not a very good movie. Also, as a bonus, Dagoth is played by Andre the Giant in a rubber suit.